The Russian invasion of Ukraine is happening now, and this could impact the rest of the world. Professor William Muck, chair of the Political Science Department at North Central College in Naperville, is with us this morning. Professor, good morning.
Good to be with you.
Really nice to have you this morning. President Biden and NATO allies say that there will be more sanctions against Russia. What do you see coming here? Will there be a bigger, more boots on the ground military response?
I don't think you're going to see boots on the ground from the United States. I think the Biden administration has been very clear that we're talking about sanctions, maybe military support, but the American public just wouldn't tolerate boots on the ground. I mean, Afghanistan and the legacy of the Iraq War are very, very much there. I think the other reason why you're likely not to see U.S. troops on the ground is that, you know, Russia and the United States remain the world's two biggest nuclear powers, and that would be a really, really dangerous dance. So even if it's not boots on the ground, you're likely to see military support, you're likely to see diplomatic support, maybe even some cyber dynamics. There's going to be a lot, but it won't be troops from the United States.
What is President Putin's end goal here?
This is the million-dollar question. There are many of us, myself included, who thought there's no way Putin is going to do this because it doesn't make sense economically, politically, diplomatically. The costs are going to be so high. But what we've seen over the last couple days is that I think Putin is playing a different game here. He's really thinking about his role in Russian history. It's not so much about NATO expansion. One gets the sense that he's trying to rewrite the end of the Cold War and talking about creating a Russian empire. So that's a really big deal, and I think it suggests that he's in a very, very different place than the rest of the international system.
And Professor, I mean, we've seen this story, at least a story like it before, back in 2014 when Russian forces took control of the Crimean Peninsula. Anything different between then and now?
Yeah, so when Russia invaded and took over Ukraine, the Ukrainian population in Crimea were for the most part supportive of that. They were pro-Russian, they didn't use violence, and what we're seeing playing out in the rest of Ukraine is a Ukrainian population that wants nothing to do with Russia. There's a resurgent sense of Ukrainian nationalism. They're very in opposition to what Russia's doing. And so if we take a step back and think historically what we're watching here, Russia is carrying out an unprovoked attack against the sovereign democracy in Europe. I think people are going to look back at this moment and say, this is when, the post-Cold War peace in Europe ended. It is really a dramatic moment, and I think much more ominous than what we saw in Crimea in 2014.
Well, you've touched on this a little bit. What impact could this have, Professor Muck, on global politics and also global economics in general?
Well, I think economics is where you start. We're going to see prices, whether it's gas prices or economic prices in general, right? This is the global economy is going to have a significant hiccup. But I think at a bigger picture, this is a battle for democracy. Ukraine has become a proxy where the European democracies and the United States are trying to pull Ukraine into its orbit, and Russia is trying to fight and pull them back into the Russian orbit. So this is a battle for democracy. It also is a battle for peace and stability in Europe, right? Russia is trying to throw us back into the 20th century when it was okay to roll tanks across the international border. So again, a really, really important moment in history.
Yeah, you said it, post-Cold War peace has ended. Professor William Muck with us live this morning. Professor, nice to have your insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.